Gervonta Davis, coach and team, says he knocks Lomachenko out in 2 rounds. Is that facts or super cap? What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, Vasiliy Lomachenko has an upcoming fight with Devin Haney. And I think the result of that fight will determine how the rest of the 135 division will play out, and if he'll actually get to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, I think it's all going to depend. How does his fight with Devin Haney actually play out? Does Devin Haney finish him early? Does Devin Haney knock him out? Does Devin Haney win a 12-round decision? Or does Vasiliy Lomachenko have an actual shot of beating Devin Haney? Listen, personally, I don't think he wins. I think Devin beats him. I don't think Devin stops him as far as a knockout goes. I think Devin is extremely talented. And at this point, I think it would take something extreme for Vasiliy Lomachenko to beat Devin Haney. And when I say extreme, I mean Bob Arum would have to fall down and bump his head a couple of times. Devin Haney would have to trip and fall and hit his head on the ring steps before the fight. Nah, I'm just playing. But I do feel like it would take some extreme measures. Devin Haney would have to have a super bad night. And I think Bob Arum would have to basically find something new in Vasiliy Lomachenko that he's willing to invest in.
Don't smoke that weed if you can't pay a bill. And you might not need those sneakers if you can't pay a bill. And you might not need to go out. You know, most people go out as an escape to a life they hate. Create a life you love, so you want to stay in. But you have to architect that. And don't pay attention to the distractions, the negative bullshit, and what other people are doing. Because none of that shit matters.
Now, Vasiliy Lomachenko does still have a huge fan base. But the problem is his fan base isn't growing anymore. And Devin Haney's a younger, stronger, up-and-coming fighter, and he can actually build a fan base to where Vasiliy Lomachenko's fan base is kind of already set in stone. I don't really see it getting any bigger unless he was able to defeat Devin Haney, but I don't see that happening. And he has Shakur Stevens as well. So you got to think about it like this. If there's no reason for Bob Arum to really invest any more money into Vasiliy Lomachenko, there's probably no shot of Vasiliy Lomachenko beating Devin Haney, the younger, up-and-coming, already the champion. There's really no reason for Bob Arum to push Vasiliy Lomachenko anymore. So if there's no reason for Bob Arum to push Vasiliy anymore, there's really no need for Gervonta Davis to take on Vasiliy Lomachenko unless he's able to defeat Devin Haney. Now, is he able to defeat Devin Haney? I seriously doubt that. So, I mean, what does that leave that fight? You know, I don't think Vasiliy Lomachenko fights Gervonta Davis. I mean, maybe if he wins and he becomes undisputed, but at that point, you would have to think that there's an automatic rematch clause in their contract anyway. So you're talking about something that wouldn't happen for another year at least. You know, 8 months to a year. So by then, is Gervonta Davis still in the division? If Devin Haney loses to Vasiliy Lomachenko, does he immediately rematch him, or does he go to 140, try to get a fight, and then try to come back down to 135? I think he would immediately rematch him, and then that would force Gervonta Davis to most likely have to fight Shakur Stevens. Now, if he fought Shakur Stevens, and then Vasiliy and Devin rematched each other, and let's say Devin Haney lost again, then yeah, more than likely you would see Gervonta Davis at that point fight Vasiliy Lomachenko for all the titles. He would most likely beat Vasiliy Lomachenko and collect all the titles. He would have already beaten Shakur Stevens. There would be no need for him to fight Devin Haney at that point. So then what does Gervonta Tank Davis do? He would still be in the same dilemma that I feel like Devin Haney is in, and I feel like he's in, is they're running out of credible names to try to take on at 135 pounds. So you would have had the whole division, as far as the top, run through itself. At that point, Gervonta would have beaten Shakur. Gervonta would have beaten Vasiliy. Devin Haney would have lost to Vasiliy and moved to 140. At that point, you would see Gervonta Davis most likely move to 140 to try to either fight Josh Taylor or to take on Devin Haney at the 140 pounds. Now, would the fight actually happen at 140? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure there would be a catch weight in there somewhere. But listen, I think that people have to look at it like this. I'm not doubting that Vasily Lomachenko has the skills to beat Devin Haney. I think he still does have the skills, but there's always a factor of your promoter getting in the way because he has something younger and perhaps more talented than you standing right behind you. And because this is an in-house fight, you gotta think that Bob Arum is in a win-win situation. He's not in a lose-lose situation, because if Vasily Lomachenko happens to beat Devin Haney, he can revitalize the Vasiliy fan base. He'll still have all the titles, and he can just once again face Vasiliy up with Devin once again. Now, if Devin beats Vasiliy, hey, Vasiliy was on his way out anyway. Devin still signed to Bob, and he has Shakur Stevens, so he doesn't lose in this situation at all. To where I think there's more of a maybe if Devin Haney was to fight Gervonta Davis. There's a maybe if Devin Haney, if Vasily Lomachenko was to fight Gervonta Davis. There's nothing really as an incentive for Gervonta Davis to fight Vasily Lomachenko unless he beats Devin Haney. So, do I believe he would knock him out inside of 2 rounds? I think he would actually beat Vasily Lomachenko pretty easy. I think people are forgetting that Gervonta Davis is a hell of a fighter. He has all the boxing skills. I think a lot of time people think that, well, I'm taller than him, so I can just outpoint him, or I can use my size and my jab to keep him off of me, and I can knock him out, or I can utilize the ring better than he does. Listen, the man has all the intangibles. He has punching power. He has ring IQ. He's able to utilize the ring. He judges and gauges distance and power. And when you got fighters like Vasily Lomachenko, who was the Matrix at one time, but nobody's ever considered Vasily Lomachenko to be a knockout artist.
I don't think a child should be at the table with grown folks giving inexperienced opinions when that person has not lived.
Gervonta Davis is a knockout artist as well as a great fighter. Vasily Lomachenko only really has the Matrix-like ability to hang his hat on using those angles. He's never had real punching power. So even if he got into the ring with Gervonta Davis and he was able to utilize those angles for a few rounds, it's only going to be a matter of time before Gervonta lands something big on him and most likely puts him to sleep. Now, his problem is he has no firepower to throw back at Gervonta. So, how does he actually beat Gervonta Davis with that big of a punch that Gervonta packs? The same thing goes with Devin Haney. Nobody can say that Devin Haney is a knockout artist. He has no power at 135, and it's the reason he's trying to move up to 140. He might be able to dominate his opponent, and he's very dominant from bell to bell, but there's no excitable moments because his punching power doesn't carry at 135. So at the end of the day, if there's one person I think who could knock him out inside of 2 rounds, I think it is Gervonta Davis. And I think Davis holds all the cards to the future of the division. Eventually, either Devin Haney is going to have to fight him or leave the division. Shakur Stevens has already kind of capitulated to any terms that Gervonta Davis would put forward, but there's no incentive for him to fight Shakur Stevens at this point. He's not as popular as Ryan Garcia, and he has no titles. So, why go to Shakur when you can have Shakur come to you, and you could just go after the guys with the titles, i.e. try to get a fight with Devin Haney. If that doesn't work and Devin moves to 140, you need to be going after Josh Taylor at 140 and not, trying to keep taking these, good fights but risky fights. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Is Gervonta Davis' trainer and team correct? Would he knock Vasily out inside of 2 rounds, or is that all cap? Hit that like button for me, share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, but you are more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are man.
Know about the bar, tell her, Louis King, that's my shit, show that right there, that's my bitch, nice face, nice ass, nice legs, nice tits, if you do a nice job, you can get a nice tip, if you got a nice job, and you got a nice whip, and you got a nice crib, cause you like nice shit, I can feel that, I can feel that, but bring that booty over here and let me feel that, I can feel that, I can feel that, but bring that booty over here and let me feel that, shorty, you a fool, shawty, you a beast. Seen her in the west, seen her in the east, seen her in the club, seen her in the streets. Now I gotta see her on them hotel sheets. Shawty, you a freak, rolling off 1.5. I gave her one on the bed, I gave her one in the bath, I gave her one on the floor, I gave her one in the car. When I feel like this, I go straight to the bar and tell her 1 chick, 2 chick, 3 chick, 4, 10 chicks, 20 chicks, 30 chicks. Whoa, which one of y'all bad bras won't go? Which one of y'all bad bras won't go? From the bar, the car, the telly. I'm talking about the bar, the car, the telly. We take them from the bar, the car, the telly. You know about the bar, the car, the telly. Okay. Flied in a pair of keys, dirty as a pair of cleats with a pair of freaks. In a hotel suite with a pair of sweets. Loose keys, I'm a beast apparently. You can tell cause they throwing, they really getting loose. I was already live, can't blame it on the goose side of Tron. We can get it on. Yeah, she kinda skinny, sweating like she big bone. Blunt I'm smoking on, bigger than the mobile home. Let me get your cell number in my mobile phone. Now she thinks she wifey, say she want a ring on it. I'ma break her back, they gon' have to put a sling on it. Lean on it. I'm finna win. 1 chick, 2 chick, 3 chick, 4, 10 chicks, 20 chicks, 30 chicks. Whoa, which one of y'all bad bras won't go? Which one of y'all bad bras won't go? From the bar, the car, the telly. I'm talking about the bar, the car, the telly.